Welcome to All America Woodworks with Brad. I am Brad, and as you can see behind me, this wall and this wall are the back corner of my garage, because I have one of those deep inset garages. And so I decided that I wanted my shop to look like a cabin. So as you can see, it pretty well looks like a cabin. We've got the door here that I framed out, and the window right there that I framed out, and all of these boards that look like logs were from a local high school in my community. The original bleachers for that high school's gymnasium are what these are. So I thought that if I could stack those boards on top of each other, it will kind of look like a log cabin. So I still have to trim out this corner, but I do have the door trimmed out, the window over there trimmed out. It has a fan in it for obvious reasons. We're in the garage. Wood holds heat, so it gets a little warm in here. So yeah, I'm going to give you a tour of the inside and then maybe some more of the outside when it's not so cluttered. Right now my garage is kind of cluttered. Lots of cardboard, so that's another reason why it's hot in here. So got a couple fans going on in there, the one in the window, and then I've got another one sitting in there. So if you do hear some noise, that's what it is. I have them both down on low, but it's just blowing the air out. So let's get inside and check it out. Come on in. So here we are inside the shop. Let me get a couple more lights on and move you out of the way so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Right up here is, let me get you tilted a little bit so you can see. Sorry for the jostling there, but we've got some professional lighting for when I do filming. For instance, this one right here typically will sit at my assembly table, staining table, what have you. Turn that on for you and get it moved in. So typically it's going to be over here with this light as well. So I've got lots of lighting. These here are candle holders. We've got them stained out in some dark walnut, special walnut, and some black cherry. And then today I did the burned look. Don't have any candle to put in them to display them properly, but we get you turned a little bit. So this tour is basically just going to be, you know, what I do. I don't consider myself a woodworker. I don't consider myself a, I don't even know what you want to call anybody who does woodworking professionally. I do this part-time, I do this for fun, I do this for hobbies, DIY type stuff, and that's kind of what the focus of this channel is going to be about, is how to do things in an easier, simpler way. Maybe if you can see down there, all that wood there, scrap wood. That's pretty much how I made these. A lot of scrap 2x4s that I had laying around. So that's kind of what this channel is going to be about. It's going to be about, I guess, some shop organization, the things that I do, not that you have to do or that is a must. These are just things that work for me. For instance, I have, bring you over here, this rack here that I made for my vices. Of course, I don't have Bessie's, I don't have all the fancy good ones. I've got Harbor Freight, Irwin. This one was in the house when I bought it. So yeah, let me get you adjusted here, up a little bit toward me. So we're back at the door. Well, we're inside the door, we're right at the door, and as you can see, the same boards that you saw on the outside, I've decided to leave this exposed because I like having the fact that I could put storage in here. Like you can see here in the corner, I've got some 2x4s just sitting here, ready to go. I have cool dartboard, magnet dartboard. First thing I do when I walk in is put on my apron. If I can find the other strap. Put on my apron, go and grab my pencils, my tape measure, my square, everything that I'm going to need in here. I don't leave it in here just to leave it in here. I like to just make sure that I'm getting everything ready to go and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to pick up the camera and I'm going to start walking with you, and we're going to kind of do a 360 tour of what's inside the shop, and then I'll set you back down and we'll explain a little bit more about why I have it set up the way I have it set up. So let me do that. I will grab the camera and we will start shooting. Okay, so walking in, straight away you can see a miter saw station, and there's that fan that's blowing air out. So the reason why I have my miter saw station here and it's semi-small is because I don't work on anything really large. I don't build bed frames, I don't do entertainment centers, I don't do different things like that. So I do have, just in case I run out of room, I can open up that door all the way to the window and run my long boards out the door if I have to. Kind of like what I had to do with some of these boards up here, because this span is a little over 12 feet and that span is just from that wall there to the corner, which is a little over 9 feet. So I did have to use this extension out the door a little bit. So I'll explain a little bit about the miter saw once we finish our tour. Next up here, I have a couple of sawhorses that I made from some scrap wood, like I said. Up there we've got screws of various sizes, and then we have our bits with holes drilled into the wood here just to hold the bits, so I don't have to go searching for those. We have one of my projects that I made and I just love that thing, which is my chuck box. We'll probably make some coffee chuck box, sorry. We'll probably make some coffee in some of our episodes and, you know, sit down and talk about woodworking or what have you. Down there, like I said, a bunch of wood storage, remnants, leftovers from the walls when I built those. You already saw the wood there, so this is kind of like my assembly table. We have a vise there and a second vise down there that I have yet to mount. So let me move this light out of the way. We'll just go ahead and shine it over there. We have a drill press station here with this stand that I made for it. I made this a couple years ago. We've got Forster bits on top. We have drill bits of various sizes and styles. We have an X-Acto knife set. Underneath here we have a fancy set of squares. Down here we have our router bits, and I'll show you the router table here in just a minute. We have some more bits and drivers and different things down there. And in the bottom I just have some free weights just to put weight in the bottom. Over here we have a bandsaw that I am currently have listed on Marketplace because I no longer want it. Up here we have a drill station with charging up top that I kind of DIY'd, put a drawer in here. Miscellaneous items. Nail gun. Back there we have some of our exotic woods, kind of like this. Going to make a mini cutting board. We have blowtorch over there. We have an old style screwdriver that I don't use, but I think it's pretty cool. I like some vintage tools. Pencil sharpener, nothing fancy about that. The lovely pegboard system that everybody loves. But I have vintage tools and squares and things up there that I don't use. I just leave them on display for the most part, and occasionally I'll pull one out. We have this nice, wonderful stand that I picked up on Marketplace for free, I believe. And it houses, you already saw the vise down there. We've got cord, knives. That's a huge bin of screws, miscellaneous things like that. Some more project things that I will be doing videos on. These are some coasters that I made. We have a 6-pack with a bottle opener, toolbox. We have a couple of cabinets up here I keep paper towel attached to. This is just where I keep DeWalt sander, skill saw, router, nail gun, trash bags. This one here just keeps some picture hanging things, some stains and polyurethane and things like that, some caulking and flex tape and whatnot. All the stuff down there was stuff left by the previous homeowners that is just piled up there. I've got some off-cut scrap wood there. And now brings me to these two things. Let me set the camera down and I will pull these out and show you exactly what they are. You know, I forgot to point out this pink pool just covers up my secondary furnace that goes into my kids' playroom, which is just on the other side of that wall. So anyway, this used to be my miter table, but as you can see on top, this is now sanding station. And if I back it up, grab a couple of things here. It becomes my router table. Yes, I know it's not no fancy one, it isn't anything like that, but I have a fence that I put up here that I made myself. It's even got a dust port attachment here, and I built this enclosure here that encloses the entire thing and sucks all of my sawdust into that, and it works very well, let me tell you. So I go to that cabinet over there, put my miter, or my man, I'm drawing a blank today. Not a very good shop tour here. I grab my router from over there and it attaches underneath here. You can see the bracket for it down here maybe. Probably see a little bit of it anyway. So that is what I do with this one. And of course it's on wheels, it's mobile, so I can move it out of the way. For instance, I need to move it over there, so I can bring this one over. This one here, I'll turn it so you can see. We'll take this off. This here is a table saw. And what I do with this, let me grab a piece of wood back here. Bear with me for just a moment. Basically have kickstand for an Alfie table. And if you notice, it is slightly lower than the table itself so that nothing gets caught and it just kind of has a place to go. I have all of my items on the bottom, like my sled, I DIY'd this myself. I'm watching some YouTube videos, and this is kind of the stuff that I want to show how to make. And show you guys that you don't have to have the fanciest items, the fanciest gear. Let me get you turned up here. I just want to show you that you don't have to have the fanciest things, the fanciest items, the fanciest of this, the fanciest of that. And, sorry, toolbox right behind that. That's something that just has sockets and wrenches and things that I'm not in that often. Here I've got paint thinner, linseed oil, spray adhesive, wood glue, spray paints, glues, or paints, paint stripper, pretty much everything that I could potentially need, plus what's back there on the table that I use to make them candle holders. We have a couple of Harbor Freight bar clamps here that just sit on a couple of nails. Have my to-go tool bag if need be, just pull that thing off of there, ready to go. Man, I couldn't get that on there. So anyway, this metal cabinet up here has a couple of jackets for winter time if it gets cold in here, which it usually does not. Up here I have the first jig that I made for this shop. This is called the T-can jig. That is for putting my T-candle holders in there so that it can hold it in place while I'm sanding. So that's the first jig that I made that's going to be for the channel, and I'll show how I made that. And as you can see, I used one of the bleacher boards for that and some scrap 1x2s or 1x3s or something. Have a beanie up here for if it gets cold in here, which in the winter time it doesn't get too bad because this is an insulated garage. This drawer just has a mountain of Menards bags. This drawer has a paint tarp, which is a huge one, plus the blue one that's over there that the tea candle holders are sitting on. I use that one just for stains. This one I use for painting, and if I think I'm going to create a lot of dust, which you'll see why I would use this if I'm creating a lot of dust. And this top one I don't do anything with. This is just, it's just there. Up here, and this styrofoam has a lot of sawdust because I like to make my own fire starters, and that's for my other channel, Bushcraft Evolution. And then what shop would not be complete if it didn't have a crossbow in it. Not sure why it's there. I just don't want it in the house with the girls. So it is housed up there for now. So that's basically the tour, except for a little more on the miter station. I'm going to show you a couple more things with that. Let's get you turned around here. I just want to show you a couple little cool things I did. As you can see, I've got a box around this. I'm working on a dust collection system for this specifically because this creates a lot of dust. I've got my hearing protection up here, of course. You have to have that, so that's on a hook right next to this so that I'm ready to go at all times. I forgot to show you over here, I have my Craig pocket hole jig mounted so that I don't ever have to get it out with all of its screws and everything here next to it. All of the, if I just need to do one or two, I've got the single. Those are just housed right there. Back to over here, we have a multi-tool underneath here, which is basically a Dremel. This is called the Forex, something along those lines. My father-in-law got me this for Christmas. I have my actual Dremel over here. That's what's in this bag with all of its accessories there. So I wanted to show you this cool little thing I just created. Probably wondering what the heck is this thing. So it goes along my fence here, and I take my tool that I drilled a hole for, my wrench, and wherever I need to make, say I'm making multiple cuts, so all I do is get it to where I need it, give it a couple going the right way, give it a couple of quick turns, and that stays secure. So I've got a way to make multiple cuts without having to measure each and every single board that I'm cutting. So I painted it red for no reason at all. Maybe because I'm a Cubs fan. Sorry if you're not. So that sits on a nail that I put back here. It just sits there like that, and then the tool goes back in its hole. So the reason why I mentioned dust collection, let me get you turned down. I'll probably bring in a little closer maybe. I'm not sure what you're going to be able to pick up if I don't bring in too close. So I have this dust stopper, I believe is what it's called. It sits on top of a 5-gallon bucket. You get it from Home Depot. And it basically collects all the large pieces of debris, and then all of the small pieces will suck up through this top and go into your shop vac. In my case, I've got a 2.5 peak horsepower 6-gallon Craftsman that I've had for probably close to 20 years, not quite 20 years, but close to it. And it does its job. I've never replaced the filter on it one time. I just clean it out periodically because that catches most everything. But when I'm cutting on the miter saw back here, I'll show you what I have to do. Get you backed up a little bit. So what I have to do is pull the hose off of its home, and I just run it underneath here and put it on the back of the machine to get rid of most of the dust, but some stuff still falls out. But we're not going to demonstrate that right now. You'll see that in upcoming videos. And then another thing to point out is if you see these, if you look, some of them can move. Maybe you can see this one. See how that moves freely? This is actually floating. But if I put any weight here on the front, those will no longer move free. It gives me a way to not have legs going straight down. It gives me more room so I can be able to work more comfortable. So I built a mobile floating miter station of my own design. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I looked at all of the various, turn you a little bit more. I looked at all the various types of miter stations, mobile miter stations. I looked at all sorts of different things, all sorts of different designs and ideas, and I kept seeing the term floating miter station, but nothing like this with these angled legs. Sorry about that, battery died. Anyway, I heard of the floating miter stations, the platform itself being a floating, but I couldn't find anything that was of this design. So I had a bunch of this 1x4 laying around from a previous project that I decided to take apart and gave me extra lumber. So all I did was cut it to length to fit underneath here. There's no special cuts on the bottom or top. It's just flat. There's no 45s or anything. And I just wedged it in there, and it does its job. It holds this up. It holds a lot of weight. I put a lot of wood through this, and it's held everything I've put up to it. So yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. You can probably see my nose glistening from my sweating. So I'm trying to think about if I missed anything. I don't think I did. Yeah, so that's our tour. Well, I guess I could show you up there. Let me show you what's up top here. Let me get you angled up here. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can kind of see it. I have a mini tool rack or wood storage up there, but my plan is to make this entire wall wood storage, and then over here on this wall above where I've got the fasteners here, I want to do some more wood storage, and then even up above this shelf here, 1 or 2 areas for wood. But since I like to work with, let me get you turned down now. It's a weird angle. Since I like to work with scrap wood and build things, that's kind of what this channel is going to be about, really, is, so let me get the light away a little bit. I want to show things that you could do with scrap wood. I want to show projects that you could do, your grandkids can do, your kids can do. If you're a person who does craft shows, person who's on Etsy, Facebook, whatever. I don't sell a lot of my stuff. I do a lot of this stuff for fun, and I just kind of do some one-offs, but I want to bring you along for that journey, especially these sawhorses. These, I just watched a video. I don't remember who it was that I watched make this, but they made like 5 or 6 different kinds, and this was the style that I liked, and I happened to have everything that they were asking for to build it. So I built these, and I would love to show you guys how to do it, the measurements and everything, which I believe was 17 for these runners, and then 31 maybe for the, I guess you can call them the legs. Yeah, so a couple of door hinges on top. I used some rope to keep it from coming up too far. He used chain in his, but I used rope. So yeah, it's basically going to be showing you how to do things with what you have on hand. If you're a person who has an idea, you just don't know how to execute it or go about making it happen, I'm hoping that I could be the inspiration for you to get that done. So I think I'm going to end this tour. I'm going to get this edited because this is the first official video for this new channel. So thank you for touring my shop. Again, the name of it is All American Woodworks by Brad. I am Brad. So until the next video, create something.